नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा, welcome to our weekly Bhakti Vaibhav class. So in the last class we have been discussing how Narada Muni, who met who met Dhruva on the forest, as Dhruva was going to forest to worship Lord Vishnu, following in the footsteps of Mumukshubi, the great sages who are worshipping Lord Vishnu in order to attain liberation, something like that. Suddenly Narada Muni came and he told, you are a small kid, you should not be too much worried about this name, fame and all. They come and go. Please go back home. This is the time for play, and then when the right time comes, then you can come and worship Lord Vishnu. This is not easy for people like you. Then Dhruva became a little bit offended. Huh? It's not easy for people like me. You tell me what should be done, I will show you. Having done it. Padam Tribhuvanotkrishtam Jigisho Sadhu Vartmame. So please tell me the bona fide path of worshipping Lord Vishnu, by which I will attain something which is not even attained by my grandfather, great grandfather, or any other person who is produced by my great grandfather Brahma. So seeing the temperament, Kshatriya temperament of Dhruva, Narada Muni was very much satisfied and also became astonished. Oh, Kshatriya, oh Tejas, Kshatriya Tejanam. So then he began to speak about the path of bhakti, how to practice bhakti, how to execute bhakti. So because this is Satya Yuga, the process, the sadhana was accompanied by Ashtanga Yoga also. So for that, Narada Muni tells him to go to Madhuvan, which is the abode of Lord Krishna. Then take bath in the Ganga every day, morning, afternoon, evening. Then collect the basic things, whatever you get, and offer to the deity. And then worship the Supreme Lord by the practice of pranayama, other things and all. It talks about yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So for that dharana, dhyana, samadhi, what kind of the form of Paramatma should be meditated upon? The beautiful form of the Supreme Lord has been described in these verses. So that is where we stopped, and we will continue on from text number 51 onwards today. I think we stopped at 50. So that Lord, whose form is wonderfully described, he remains seated in the heart of the devotees who want to meditate upon, contemplate upon him. So please meditate upon that Lord and then perform your sadhana. Eventually, by the will of the providence, you will attain the fulfillment of your desires. So that was the whole thing. So one thing is daily taking bath in the river Yamuna and worshipping the deity of the Supreme Lord with all the basic things that he gets in the forest, and then perform Ashtanga Yoga. Now, while doing all these things, what kind of mantra one should be chanting? That mantra initiation will happen in the next section, starting from 51 onwards. So today we will discuss all these things. Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I do have a question, Prabhuji. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So Dhruva Maharaj was honestly accepting that he cannot accept his advice, Narada Muni's advice. So how we will take it in our position, Prabhuji? So somebody
No.
also
See, here it is not that he did not accept. He said, you are telling that this is not the suitable time to practice bhakti. So he said, no, you go home now and forget about the insults and all. And then you come back when you become old, when you take on to Vanaprasada, that time you come and perform tapasya and all. But Narada Muni, not Narada Muni, Dhruva, see, he has a Kshatriya temperament. Kshatriyas, they cannot postpone things. They want things to be done immediately. They are always ambitious, adventurous. As a result of that, he says that, so my dear Narada Muni, what you say may be pleasing to a Brahmana child, because Brahmanical people are more tolerant. They are not enforcing that should happen immediately. They are more like tolerant people. So that may be suitable for them. Because I am coming from a Kshatriya lineage, I cannot wait. I cannot wait till 100 years. So I want now. You please tell me what is the bona fide path. I will make karke dikhaunga. Narada Muni told that at this age it is not possible for you, because the great sages, even in their old age, ripened age also, they are struggling very hard to get the mercy of the Lord. So Dhruva took it as a challenge. Huh? I will show you. Even a small boy also can do it. I'll show you. Like that, he has taken it as a challenge. That is the Kshatriya spirit. So in that way.
Okay. So in our movement, generally we don't see who is born up, who is so everybody following that anyhow, everybody is a devotee. So how to follow the authority in that context?
See, following the authority in that context, see, for our practice of bhakti, authorities are always guiding us in proper direction. Unless and until if we notice that the authorities are selfish motivated, then we may have to reconsider what they are selling. Otherwise, if the authorities are selfless, if their intention is only to help us and to help the mission, then we should be able to do. But
So
if there is if we notice something, if the authorities themselves have selfishly motivated, then we should consider whether to do it or not. Something like that.
Okay. Okay, Bruce.
But here in the case of Dhruva, so of course, from Dhruva's point of view, it is the fulfillment of his desire only. But from Narada's point of view, even for fulfillment of his desire, he has come to Vishnu. Udara Sarva Evaite. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, among the four Sukritnas, Artho, Jignash, Ratati, Jnani, even though they may be selfish motivated, but they are coming to me. That's why they are Udara. They are most magnanimous. Same way Narada Muni is seeing that. He could have gone to anybody. Dhruva could have gone to Brahma or Shiva or any other Devatas also. But when he has come to Vishnu, that itself is a great qualification. So that's how Narada Muni wanted to direct him in a proper direction.
Akamaha sarpa kamabha mokha kamodhare.
Yes.
Okay, Proj. Thank you, Proj.
So now in the next section, our Narada Muni will give him mantra initiation. So that will be discussed. Smayamanam abhidyayet.
Smayamanam abhidyayet.
Tanuragavalokanam.
Tanuragavalokanam.
Niyate naika bhutena.
Niyate naika bhutena.
Manasa varadarshabham.
Manasa varadarshabham. Translation: the Lord is always smiling, and the devotee should constantly see the Lord in this form, as he looks very mercifully toward the devotee. In this way, the meditator should look toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the bestower of all benedictions.
One should, with complete attachment, meditate upon this particular form of the Supreme Lord with great attention upon the smiling face of the Lord, Smayamanam, the greatest benedictor, who has an affectionate glance, Anuraga Avalokanam. The Lord is always eager to bless us, but so that form of the Lord should be meditated upon. So what kind of dhyana? Not dhyana, what kind of samadhi one should be doing? So this verse talks about samadhi. So samadhi means constant meditation upon the smiling face of the Supreme Lord, who is eager to award all benedictions. So in that way. Evam bhagavato rupam.
Evam bhagavato rupam.
Subhadram dhyayato manaha.
Subhadram dhayato manaha.
Nirvritya paraya turnam.
Nirvartya paraya turnam.
Sampannam na nivartate.
Sampanam na nivartate. Translation: one who meditates in this way, concentrating in mind upon the always auspicious form of the Lord, is very soon freed from all material contaminations, and he does not come down from meditation upon the Lord. And
The mind of the devotee meditating on this auspicious form of the Supreme Lord, Dayato Subhadram Bhagavato Rupam, very soon becomes filled with the highest bliss and never leaves that form. That is called as Samadhi. Samadhi means one becomes fixed upon one's own meditation and one does not interrupt the meditation. When there is interruption, that can be called as dharana and dhyana. In dharana and dhyana, there could be small interruptions here and there. But when one comes to samadhi, there will be no interruption. Uninterrupted, continuous meditation on the form of the Lord is called samadhi. So that is being indicated here. The mind of the yogi does not give up the object of meditation. It continuously meditates on the object of meditation, the Paramatma. So now, here, that is fine. While practicing Ashtanga Yoga, finally you come to Samadhi. Samadhi means uninterrupted, continuous meditation upon the smiling face of the Supreme Lord. So now, the sadhana. Japascha paramo guya.
Japascha paramo guya.
Shruyatam me nrupatmaja.
Shruyatam me nrupatmaja.
Yam spashtaratram prapatan.
Yam saptaratram prapathat.
Puman pashyati kecharan.
Puman paschati kecharan. I'll read, Prabhuji.
Please.
Translation: O son of the king, now I shall speak unto you the mantra which is to be chanted with this process of meditation. One who carefully chants this mantra for 7 nights can see the perfect human beings flying in the sky. Hare Krishna.
So, now Narada Muni is going to instruct a special mantra to Dhruva. And if one chants this mantra uninterruptedly for 7 days, while doing the other sadhanas part of Ashtanga Yoga and all, they will be able to see the kecharas at the end of the 7 days. The kecharas could be the devatas. The kecharas could be all the way up to the associates of Lord Vishnu. Jaya, Vijaya, Nanda, Sunanda, etc., who can fly in the sky. So in that way we have to take. So basically, this mantra is so powerful that if one sincerely chants this mantra, within 7 days one can see the heavenly residents. Normally we don't see, but by chanting this mantra in 7 days one can see the kecharas. That could be the understanding. Oh Prince, hear from me the highest secret mantra, not ordinary mantra. This is Japascha Paramo Guhyam. It is secret mantra and Paramo mantra, supreme mantra, by chanting which a person can see the associates of the Lord traveling in the sky in 7 days. In 7 days only one can see the associates of Supreme Lord. Whether it could be Devatas or it could be Vaikuntavasis. They can be seen. That is the power of this mantra. That mantra now I am going to give you. A similar kind of mantra Narada Muni gives to Chitraketu Maharaj. So Chitraketu Maharaj chanted for 7 days. Then he had darshan of Lord Sankarsana. Then another 7 days he chanted. He was not only able to see the kecharas, he has become one of the kecharas. He has become the king of Vidyadharas. So he continued his bhakti as the king of Vidyadharas for 1 day, 2 days, for 1 lakh years. Because Chitraketu Maharaj had a desire that he wanted to continue as a great king, great religious, noble king. So that desire has to be fulfilled. So now the Lord has given him a facility that you continue as a king as one of the Vidyadharas by becoming the king of the Vidyadharas. So So he became king and he continued to be the king as Vidyadharas for 1 lakh years. And Lord is waiting for him. Abhi tak wapas aaya nahi spiritual world mein. Ye kya kar raha hai idhar? In order to bring him, so Lord inspired Mother Parvati to curse him to become Vrutrasura. So immediately became Vrutrasura, and Vrutrasura was killed by Indra. Then he came back to spiritual world. So to bring his devotee to spiritual world, Lord has to do all these things. So it is like that. But however, it is Narada Muni who gave that mantra to Chitraketu Maharaj. And in 7 days he had the darshan of Lord Sankarsana, and also in 7 days he became king of Vidyadharas. It is the same Lord who is giving this mantra to Dhruva now. See the associates of Lord Vishnu in 7 days. That is the power of this mantra. Hear the mantra. I will put it on your right here. I will teach you. Even if you utter it audibly, prapatan. Normally, mantra japa should be done within ourselves. We are not supposed to utter. We are not supposed to make the sound outside. But since currently we don't have that much concentration, if we continue to chant within ourselves, we may fall asleep or my mind may go here and there. To keep the mind attentive, our Acharya told that at least chant loudly. That much loud enough so that you can hear and you can focus upon it. So like that. Srila Haridas Thakur, he chants 192 rounds every day. 62 rounds he chants like all of us, loud japa. And 64 rounds he chants like that. 64 rounds he chants very mildly on the beats. Like 64 plus 64, 128 rounds he chants on the beats. 64 loudly. Loud means mild enough, not so loud, mild enough that one can hear. And 64 within mouth only with beats. Other 64 within the heart only, without beats. He would be chanting. So like that. So here, even if one chants prapatan loudly, but still one can get the effect. So in that, because actually the japa should be chanted within one's own mind without uttering so much outside. Technically, it is to be like that. But since our attention span is very slow, so we were recommended to chant little loudly so that we remain awake. That was the thing. So even if you utter it loudly, it has effect. What to speak of audibly or in the mind, which will have even greater effect. The more the silent, the more the effect. So that is the procedure given for mantra japa chanting in the Shastra. But based on our qualification, we should do. Based on our ability to be able to focus, we should do accordingly. So in that way. Kecharan means associated with the Lord. So like that. So one is loudly, prapatan. Second is upamshu, off audibly. The third one is in the mind, silently. So these are the incremental order of the japa states. So he has spoken about the effect of mantra. What the mantra can do. What kind of result the mantra can award. So now he will teach the mantra. What is that mantra which has this much potency? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Mantrenanena devasya.
Mantrenanena devasya.
Kuryad dravyamayin Buddha.
Kuryad dravyamayin Buddha.
Saparyam vivider dravyair.
Saparyam vividhair dravyai.
Deshakala vibhagavet.
Desha Kala Vibhagavet. Translation: Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the 12-syllable mantra for worshipping Lord Krishna. One should install the physical forms of the Lord, and with the chanting of mantra, one should offer flowers and fruits and other varieties of foodstuffs exactly according to the rules and regulations prescribed by authorities. But this should be done in consideration of place, time, and attendant conveniences and inconveniences.
Yeah. The learned person who knows time and place should perform external worship using the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And various items. Of course, this mantra should be chanted along with deity worship should go on as per the time, place, circumstances. Understanding when to do what to do. Like we say, na, Japa should be chanted during Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta is the proper time to do devotional activities. That is a good time where one's mind is not so much agitated. One's mind can focus upon one's chanting, etc. etc. Like that. So proper time and proper place also. One cannot chant anywhere and everywhere. So there should be a proper place to sit and chant where devotees congregate at temple like atmosphere, etc. So the one who is in knowledge of all these things, where to do, when to do, etc., they should be chanting this mantra, by which in 7 days one will have the darshan of Kecharas. That is the power of this mantra. If it is done properly at proper place at proper time. So that is how we have to understand. It is understood from this that teaching Vaishnava mantra with Om to persons without Upanayana is also allowed. So normally there are some restrictions that mantra initiation cannot be given to everyone and anyone. So one should be having in so one should be from higher orders, or one should be completed Upanayana and education. All these things are there. But here Narada Muni is giving an example that even a small boy can be initiated in mantra meditation. In mantra diksha, a small boy like 5-year-old boy, even he did not go through Upanayana ceremony, he did not go to Gurukuls to study Vedic education and all, still he can be given Vaishnava mantra initiation. So that means for practicing bhakti unto Lord Vishnu, there are no restrictions. Even a small boy like Dhruva can practice. So that has been established by this initiation by Narada Muni. Because Narada Muni is our bhakti acharya. If he can do something, that can be followed now also. So like that. This supersedes the rule of giving such mantras only to those who have Upanayanam. So normally from the Vedic point of view, only those who have completed Upanayanam, who have gone through that Upanayana ceremony and gone through Vedic education, they should be given the initiation into Brahma mantras. So the mantras in connection to Brahman, in connection to Vedic literature, Vedic knowledge, Gayatri and all, they are given only to those who are Upanayana thing is done and who are going through the Vedic education. They should be given the Gayatri mantra and all. But for giving Harinam, it can be given to even small boy also. There are no restrictions. So that has been understood from this particular incident. So like that. So now, so different things he is mentioning. First of all, you need to practice Ashtanga Yoga as described Yama, Niyamas, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, etc. Second, mantra initiation is done. So he should be chanting mantra. That mantra he has given, which has the power to show the Kecharas in 7 days. Now, one should also worship deity. Deity worship also. So how to prepare the deity, what kind of deity worship one should do, especially in the forest, what kind of facility one will have, thinking like that. Now Narada Muni will instruct on the deity worship, the principle of deity worship, how Dhruva should make a deity and worship the deity form of the Supreme Lord. So that is also part of sadhana. Though it is Satya Yuga, one may say only dhyana, dhyato, vishan, dhyato, that Kritaya, dhyato, Vishnu, like that one may say no. Even in Krita Yuga also, all other things are there. But dhyana could be like most occupying thing, but all other things are, the mantra japa is there, deity worship is there. So remaining things are also there. So in that way, now Narada Muni is going to tell about other things.
Prabhuji, one question.
Mataji.
Prabhuji, why do we chant in the beginning of Bhagavatam class the same mantra?
Because Bhagavatam starting mein Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya is there. It is like Mangalacharana mantra for Bhagavatam. Offering obeisance to the Lord who is the subject matter of the entire Bhagavatam. That's why we say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay. Okay.
It is the first verse or first line of the Bhagavatam. So in that way. Salilai Suchi Birmalyair.
Salile
Salile.
Suchibhirmaler.
Vanyair Moola Faladibihi.
Panyer Mula Faladibhi.
Sastankuram Shukai Charchet.
Shastankula Sukeres Chachet.
Tulasya Priyaya Prabhu.
Plasya Priyaya Prabhu. Translation: one should worship the Lord by offering pure water, pure flower, garlands, fruits, flowers, and vegetables which are available in the forest, or by collecting newly grown grasses, small buds of flowers, or even the skin of trees, and if possible, by offering tulsi leaves, which are very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So how to worship the Lord? When you make the deity, how to worship, how to do the deity worship. Basically, this is the nothing but Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. That was one of the simple things that we can use for worshipping the deity indicated in this verse. So he says, one should worship the Lord using the pure water. Anyway, he is in Yamuna, he is in adjacent to Yamuna only. So you can use Yamuna water to worship the Lord. Palam Toyam, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam is Toyam ho gaye. So Yamuna water. And then garlands from the forest flowers. Pushpam. And then roots, fruits, Dhruvas, sprouts, cloth and deer skin and tulasi. Or deer tulasi, sorry. So patram pushpam palam toyam. So phalam includes the roots, fruits, Dhruvas, sprouts, etc. And toyam patram includes cloth. So here the cloth could be like patram. Maybe the cloth means not the oven cloth, the cloth in the form of the leafy plates, etc. Something like that. And finally, tulasi leaves and tulasi manjaris, etc., which are very dear to the Supreme Lord. So all these things should be used to serve the deity of the Supreme Lord. So what is naturally available in the forest, which includes in the category of Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, can be used to serve the Lord. So it's like that. A detailed systematic procedure on how to worship the Supreme Lord is being indicated by Narada to Dhruva. So without any issue, because he's a small boy, whether he has done till now or not, thinking like that. So is Narada Muni is telling everything in detail. So how to worship the Lord in a simple way, where there are no other facilities. Whatever is naturally available in the forest, some forest flowers, some water, some tulsi manjaris, some roots and fruits which are also available in the forest. So with all those things, one can worship the Supreme Lord. So this is the process which our Narada Muni is teaching to Dhruva Maharaj. These items should be available in the forest. Cloth can be made from birch bark. So this is like bark cloth, or which can be which can be woven with the tree bark. So because anyway, one in the forest, one can take out some time to do all this. If one can do, fine. Otherwise, one can prepare with the leaves. So with the leaves only, one can prepare like a cloth and then use it to decorate the deity or to create a asan for the deity, something like that. So these are the basic things that are explained by Narada Muni. Then next, what else one should do? That is being indicated. Labda Dravyamahim Archam.
Labdha drabya maim archam.
Kshiti Ambadi Kshibi Kheti Ambadishu Varchayet.
Kiti ambu adisu barchate barchet.
Abrutatma Munishanto.
Abrutatma muni santo.
Yatavan Mitavanyabhuk.
Yatavan mitabanya bhuk. Translation. It is possible to worship a form of the Lord made of physical elements such as earth, water, fire, wood, and metal. In the forest, one can make a form with no more than earth and water and worship him according to the above principle. A devotee who has full control over itself should be very sober and peaceful and must be satisfied simply with eating whatever fruits and vegetables are available in the forest.
So here is telling that how to worship the deity. In order to worship deity, we should have deity. How to prepare the deity? He says, the peaceful sage, controlling the mind and speech, eating limited amounts of what is available in the forest, should worship the deity, a form of the deity made up of stone or other materials, or even in the earth or water. That means, first of all, one should follow a simple life, austere life oneself, and worship the deity with the very basic minimum things that are available in the forest, something like the roots and fruits, etc., etc. So here Narada Muni is talking about controlling the senses, controlling the mind, and eating frugally, which Dhruva follows very strictly. Later on, we'll see that what kind of eating Dhruva was following. So he is like very determined to do what he want to do. As he challenged Narada Muni that you tell me what to do, I will मैं आपको करके दिखाता हूँ in a best possible way. So like that. Dhruva actually followed it more than 100%. Narada told 100%, he followed 200%. So like that we can see. And the deity can be made from a stone. So there are a lot of stones in the forest. You can carve a little bit a small stone, making it different limbs of the body. It may not be very smooth and very stylish, fashionable deity from the Lord. Or one can make it on other materials. So either stone or wood, which is also available in the forest. So wood also you can do a little bit adjustment here and there and make it as a deity. Like Jagannath. The Jagannath is not full form completely, but still he is the Lord because it is as per the Lord's desire. So then, even with mud, if you don't have any material, you take some mud and add some water to it and prepare a deity. Like Ganesh Chaturthi, we prepare Ganesh deity with mud. So like that, the deity can be made with mud. That becomes easy. That is easy. Mud se banana. So then, even if it is very difficult to make that, just draw a personal form in the water and then worship, considering the water to be the deity and worship. So for that worship, if today you want to worship and prepare a deity form, the next worship also prepare a deity form in the water and worship, something like that. Dravyamai means a form made up of stone or other solid materials. Obtaining such a form, one should worship it. One can even worship the Lord in the earth and in the water. Abrutatma means fixed mind. Even if one cannot do all these things, one should make a deity form within one's own mind and worship the deity there within the mind only. That is also acceptable. So, but worshipping is important. So, like that, how to prepare the deity, how to control oneself, how to worship the Lord. All these things Narada Muni is teaching to Dhruva. Then further, Svechavatara Charitair
Swechhavatara Charitair
Achintya Nijamayaya
Achintya Nijamayaya
Karishyati Uttama Shlokas
Karishyati Uttama Slokas
Tadhyayet Dhrudayangamam.
Tadhyayet Hrudayangamam.
You can read translation, Prabhuji.
Just 1 second, Prabhuji. My dear Dhruva, beside worshipping the deity and chanting the mantra 3 times a day, you should meditate upon the transcendental activity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnation as exhibited by his supreme will and personal potencies.
While worshipping the deity, one should contemplate upon the various pastimes of the Supreme Lord. In third canto, we saw that in the 28th chapter in the teachings of Lord Kapila, while meditating on each limb of the Supreme Lord, so one should meditate upon those pastimes which the Lord performed with that limb. In relation to that limb, whatever the pastime that Lord had performed, so one should be thinking about that. So that is indicated there. Same thing here also. While worshipping the Lord, one should meditate upon the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So that is always a accompanying thing along with the deity worship. At the time of Narada speaking, not many avatars appeared. Thus he speaks in the future tense. So the various pastimes when he incarnated by his will should be thought about. One should meditate. One should also meditate upon the activity attractiveness which the Lord will produce through his inconceivable power in various pastimes when he incarnates by his will. So basically, the different pastimes of Supreme Lord should be meditated upon while performing deity worship. So in that way.
How will meditate, Prabhuji, if those incarnations are not already incarnated?
No, see, even though Kalki Avatara yet to appear, but we hear about Kalki Avatara, we know about the pastimes of Kalki Avatara, what is going to do. Shastra will have all the information. From Shastra, it will be there.
Yeah.
So whatever, Dhruva is like already 5 years old, he must have heard from his mother about some pastimes of different avataras. So whatever he heard, that he should be meditating upon. So in that way.
So Prabhuji, one more question. Even if Dhruva Maharaj is practicing Bhakti Yoga here, because initially it looks like it is practicing the limbs of Dhyana Yoga, but finally it is concluded. So do you also feel that it is required to practice Bhakti Yoga also a little bit Dhyana, Pranayama and all this?
No. See, I told already. This is in Satya Yuga. In Satya Yuga, the popular process was Dhyana Yoga. Kritaya Dhyayato Vishnu. The majority people would practice Dhyana Yoga in Satya Yuga. As part of that, it is recommended. If Dhruva pastime would happen in Kali Yuga, Narada Muni would have told him to do chanting only. He would not have told him to do all other things.
Okay.
So we have to understand as per the time, place, circumstances.
Okay. So even if also to practice chanting also Hare Krishna mantra also little pranayama and is required. Sometimes somebody is doing it, really is it helpful for it?
No, it will be helpful. There is no harm in that. But when a principle is explained, it should be explained keeping everyone in mind. See, one may be able to do pranayama mandal, but everyone may not be able to do. But what everyone can do in Kali Yuga is Harinam.
Okay.
See, the sadhana is prescribed in such a way that the majority people can do. See, for Kali Yuga, Harinama Sankirtan means majority can do Harinam, but minority can do other things also. It's not that we are not doing deity worship. So deity worship everyone cannot do, but few people will do. Few people on behalf of everyone, they will do deity worship. And few people will do yajna on behalf of everyone. And few people can also do dhyana. No problem. It is not that it is not recommended, but people in general cannot practice. That's why it is not stressed so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Proj, for clarification.
I mean, this is my understanding. Because in Satya Yuga, people are quite calm and very elevated, and they could do dhyana. Majority, maximum people can do dhyana. That's why dhyana was recommended during that time. As the Yuga progressed, Treta Yuga, so many could do yajna. So they were recommended to do yajna. Dhyana, everyone may not be doing. So few can do dhyana also, but majority can do yajna. They are recommended yajna. Dwapara Yuga, many can do deity worship. Majority can do deity worship, so it is recommended. So in Kali Yuga, all the other three very difficult. People in general cannot do. So everyone can do it japa. So in that way. Even now you see, for Dhruva Maharaj also, japa chanting is there, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, deity worship is there, dhyana is there, and yajna, he cannot do yajna because in the forest he may not be having all those things. So what he can do, that those things are all included in his worship. So in that.
Convinced, Proj. Yes. Thank you, Proj.
Paricharya Bhagavato
Parichariya Bhagavato
Yavatya Purvasevita
Yavatya Purvasevita
Ta Mantra Hrudayenaiva
Ta Mantra Hrudayenaiva
Prayunjan Mantra Murtaye.
Prayunjan Mantra Murtaye. Translation: one should follow in the footsteps of previous devotees regarding how to worship the Supreme Lord with the prescribed paraphernalia, or one should offer worship within the heart by reciting the mantra to the personality of Godhead, who is non-different from the mantra. Hare Krishna.
One can offer all the Lord's services as done by previous devotees to the Lord, indicated in the mantra, just by using the Mula mantra. So by chanting that Mula mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, one can do all the worship how the previous devotees used to do, whatever possible. Because Dhruva is in forest, he may not be able to do everything, but whatever you can do, you can do. You must have seen in your family with the worship of the Supreme Lord, following in their footsteps, whatever extent you can do, you do it. Something like that. One should offer the services as performed by previous devotees, Purva Sevita, such as fragrance, sandalwood, betel, umbrella, and chamara, just by chanting the Mula mantra for the deity, mentally producing these items which are not available. So at home, all these things are available. Your parents might have offered. In the forest, you may not be having, but you can offer them mentally if you want to. Because as part of worship, all these things can be offered one after the other. So when we do arati in the altar, so we chant the Mula mantra. When we are offering to each deity, we chant the Mula mantra and offer. Same way here also, even though they are there or not there, whatever are there, you can use them. If they are not there, imagine them in the mind and then offer chanting Mula mantra, worship the deity. So like that. So deity worship should be accomplished properly. So that is the whole idea. So patram pushpam palam toyam yomi bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upartam ashnami prayatatmana. This is suitable for a detached person since those items will not be available. One should act to please the Lord, who is the object of meditation in the mantra murtaye. So basically, in the forest, though many things are not available, just chant them through mantra, invoke their presence, and use them to worship the Supreme Lord. So that is the recommended way when you don't have anything in your mind. Like for example, when Vasudeva was in the prison cell, when Krishna was born, that time he did not have anything. But in the mind only he offered 10,000 cows in charity to different brahmanas. Later on, when he had the cows, he actually really gave them in charity. So like that. Even now also, if we have, we should offer. If we don't have, we can think of offering them in the future, or we can just imagine and offer as if we possess and then offer. Even that is also accepted as good as actually offered. That's why Lord Krishna is called as Bhavagrahi Janardana. Even though one may not have, that means if that person has them, definitely would offer. So because he does not have, he want to offer, so Lord accepts as if he offered it. So something like that. So that is understood like that. Now, further, evam kayena manasa.
Evam kayena manasa
Vachasa cha manogatam.
vachasa cha manogatam
Paricharyatmano Bhagavan.
paricharyamano bhagavan
Bhaktimat Paricharyaya.
bhaktimat paricharyaya
Pumsham amayinam samyag.
pumsanamayinam samyak
Bhajatam bhavavardhana.
bhajatam bhavavardhanaha
Shreyo dishati abhimatam.
shreyati satyabhimatam
Yaddharmadishu dehinam.
yadharmadisu dehinam. Anyone who thus engages in the devotional service of the Lord seriously and sincerely, with his mind, word, and body, and who is fixed in the activities of the prescribed devotional methods, is blessed by the Lord according to his desire. If a devotee desires material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation from the material world, he is awarded these results.
So if somebody practices bhakti, one can get prema bhakti also, or one can get any other material benedictions also. Yat karma bir yat tapasa jnana vairagya yaschayat danena dana dharmena shreyo bir iterapi sarvam madbhakti yogena madbhakto labate anjasa sargapa vargam maddama katanchit yadi vanchati. Everything that a devotee wants can be obtained by his devotional service. So that is the understanding here. The Lord, who is the increaser of prema for the Lord, who is served by the body, mind, and words, manasa, vacha, karmana, with the devotional service, bestows what is best among dharma, artha, kama, moksha to the sincere person worshipping him. Even though a person may be worshipping the Lord for the purpose of accomplishing dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but the Lord bestows them the best out of dharma, the best out of artha, the best out of kama, the best out of moksha. Not ordinary things, but in a best way they are blessed. That is the glory of Supreme Lord. So by Bhakti Yoga, one can get the best results. In this way, mentally or by one's body, by one's mind, manasa, vacha, karmana, joined with hearing, chanting, and other services, the Lord is served. Whatever is desired among dharmartha, kama, moksha, the Lord gives. Whatever may be our desire, all those desires are fulfilled in a best way, not in a way that binds us, but in a best way. That means in a way they will be the cause of our liberation. So in that way, Lord will bestow his blessings upon a sincere, serious devotee. Like that. Today morning we were discussing in the Bhagavatam class here in Delhi. In the 5th canto, Mother Lakshmi is offering prayers to Lord Rishikesha. She says that people want to get Lakshmi, they worship me. People want to get wealth, they are worshipping me. But actually they do not know how to worship me. If they simply worship me, I will never bless them. But if they worship you, my dear Lord, definitely I will bless them. I will bless them in such a way that they are not bound by those blessings. Instead, they will be liberated by those blessings. Otherwise, people who possess wealth without bhakti unto Lord Narayana, that wealth is due to their pious activities in their previous lives. So that is only binding in the material world. But when people worship you, If they become wealthy, that wealth is not the cause of bondage. Instead, that wealth is the cause of liberation. So like that, Mother Lakshmi says in the 5th canto, chapter 18. So in that way. So Narada Muni further continues. Viraktaschendriyarato
Viraktascha chendriyarato
bhakti yoge
bhakti yogena bhuyasa
tam 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 nirantara bhavena
tam nirantara bhavena
bhajate bhajetadha vimuktaye.
bhajetadha vimuktaye. If one very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy, and he must certainly be aloof from all activities of sense gratification.
While being completely detached from enjoyment of the senses and liberation, one must worship the Lord constantly. See, now, bhakti can award the best result of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But at the same time, while practicing bhakti, one should not be contemplating upon the material results. So, why, at least while executing bhakti, one should be focusing on worship of the Supreme Lord. One should be focusing on the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. One should focusing on japa, holy name, deity worship, etc. That time we should not think about the material blessings. While being completely detached from enjoyment of the senses and also liberation, mukti bhukti, one must worship the Lord constantly with profuse bhakti at the stage of bhava to attain the position of an associate of the Supreme Lord in prema. As one practices bhakti like this, one should come to the platform of bhava. In that platform of bhava, one should simply engage in devotional service just for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, not to get anything in return in the form of bhukti and mukti. So when one worship the Lord like that, very soon one will attain Krishna prema. Though Dhruva is not interested in this prema and all, but Narada Muni is telling, no problem, my dear Dhruva. Whatever best things are from dharma, artha, kama, moksha, you have a desire for artha, not only for artha. When you do bhakti, you can provide blessings from the point of view of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Even if going one step ahead, if you worship the Lord without any material desires in the heart, the Lord can award prema also. That means what all bhakti can give us? Dharma, artha, kama, moksha plus prema. So Narada Muni is clearly indicating. Ikkada vimukti means vishesha rupena mukti. That is Krishna prema. In the previous verse, there are moksha. The moksha is mukti. Sayujya. Generally, normally mukti means sayujya. And also includes salokya, sarishti, samipya, sarupya and all. But the fifth one here is, if one does selfless, not selfless, desireless, nishkama bhakti, then one will attain Krishna prema. So these are the 5 benedictions one can award, one can get from bhakti. So like that. He who is detached from dharma, artha, kama, moksha must constantly worship the Supreme Lord, devoid of obstacles of jnana and karma. Because if the jnana temperament is there, one will be looking for mukti. If karma temperament is there, one will be looking for bhukti. So without the temperament of jnana and karma, and without so much attached to dharma, artha, kama, moksha, one should worship the Supreme Lord with bhava such as dasya in order to attain special liberation, being an associate of the Lord with prema. So if one practices such kind of bhakti, one will go to spiritual world and one will become one of the Lord's associate in one of the principal rasas, dasya, sakya, vasalya, madhurya, with special love and affection toward the Supreme Lord. So Bhakti can award this also. Because Narada Muni being a teacher, he is telling what Bhakti can do. But it is up to you what do you want. But Bhakti can give all these things. So please practice Bhakti. Like that, Narada Muni is indicating to Dhruva Maharaj. So thus, Narada Muni completes the instructions and leaves from that place. Iti uktastam parikramya
इति उक्तस्तं परिक्रम्य
pranamya cha nuparbaga
प्रणम्य च नृप
yayau madhuvanam punyam
यो मधुवनं पुण्यं
hares charana charchitam.
चर्चितम्. Translation. When Dhruva Maharaj, the son of king, was thus advised by the great sage Narada, he circumambulated Narada, his spiritual master, and offered him respectful obeisance. Then he started for Madhuvan, which is always imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna, and which is therefore especially auspicious.
Thus being taught by Narada Muni, Dhruva circumambulated Narada and offered respects. He then went to pure Madhuvana, marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna. So, like that. So, having received all the bona fide instructions on Bhakti, how to practice Bhakti, etc., and what kind of benedictions that Bhakti can award, understanding everything, offering obeisance to Narada Muni, circumambulating him 3 times, Dhruva went to Madhuvan to begin his Bhakti. Because Lord Krishna appears in every day of Brahma, Madhuvana is marked with his footprints from the previous day. In this day of Brahma, Lord Krishna appeared after Dhruva. Though by the time Dhruva was there, Lord Krishna did not appear, but Madhuvan is same Madhuvan. So in that Madhuvan, the footprints of Lord Krishna when he appeared last time are still there. So in that way, that place is auspicious. So Dhruva went there. So any questions you are able to follow, Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Other devotees?
Prabhuji, one question.
Ah.
Prabhuji, what is the importance of seeing creatures? I mean, what does it indicate?
See, what was that verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Srila Prabhupada often quotes in his lectures? The verse is Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Even the association with the sadhu for lava, a small amount of time, that can award one all perfection. So like that, the Kecharas are Vaikuntha Vasis. When we see Vaikuntha Vasis, we receive their blessings and we can progress in our bhakti, something like that. So in that context, we should take it. So seeing any sadhu, seeing any bona fide Vaishnava, seeing any devotee will award as inclination towards practice of bhakti. So that way we have to understand.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So now, Dhruva Maharaj went to Madhuvan and is going to perform Ashtareddy Sandal. But Narada Muni, having met Dhruva, he will go to see Uttanapada. Because when Dhruva left home, then Uttanapada understood what mistake he did. Now he is repenting. So what kind of heinous person I was. I did not just took care of my son. And the result of that, now small boy went to forest. What kind of hardships he might be going through. He was feeling sorry for what he has done or for what had happened. That time, Narada Muni will come and console Uttanapada. Don't worry, my dear king. Your son will come back very soon with great reputation as a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. Don't worry. Just to give him some assurance, Narada came here. Another thing, if Narada did not come, the king might have sent search parties etc. So that would disturb Dhruva's practice of bhakti. That would disturb Dhruva's attainment of Lord's blessings. So it is better that no one should disturb Dhruva, so that Dhruva can continue to perform his bhakti and attain the blessings of Supreme Lord. So for that reason, I suppose it is not mentioned like that, but I'm thinking like that. Narada Muni came and pacified Uttanapada, so that Uttanapada remain quiet and he will not send any search parties and he will not disturb Dhruva's performance of bhakti. So like that we can think. Tapovanam gate tasmin
तपोवनं गते तस्मिन्
pravishto nantapuram munihi
प्रविष्टो अनन्तपुरं मुनिः
arihitar hanako rajna
अर्हितार्हनको राजनान्
sukasena uvachatam.
सुखासीन उवाच तम्. Translation: After Dhruva entered Madhuvan forest to execute devotional service, the great sage Narada thought it wished to go to the king to see how he was faring within the palace. When Narada Muni approached, the king received him properly, offering him due obeisance. After being seated comfortably, Narada began to speak.
When Dhruva had gone to Tapavana, Narada entered the inner chambers of the palace. Being suitably worshipped by the king, seated comfortably, he then spoke to the king. Arhitar Hanaka means he was offered articles of worship like Argya as welcome. So, whatever way the sage is supposed to be received, in that way Narada Muni was received by the king. Then Narada spoke to the king, who was actually dejected very much, who was feeling sorry for what he had done. Narada uvacha
Narada Uvacha
Rajan kim dhyayase dirgham
Rajan Kim Dayase Dirgam
mukena parishusyata
Mukhena Parisusyata
kimva narishyate kama
Kimva Narisyate Kamo
dharma vartena samyutaha.
Dharma Varthena Samyutaha. Translation: The great sage Narada inquired, My dear king, your face appears to be withering up, and you look like you have been thinking of something for a very long time. Why is that? Have you been hampered in following your path of religious rites, economic development, and sense gratification? Hare Krishna.
So even though Narada knows everything, but he is simply making an official inquiry. O king, since your face is withered, have you been contemplating for a long time? Or have you lost kama or dharma along with artha? Is everything fine? Are you not able to do your kingly duties? Is something bothering you for a long time? Why are you looking so dejected? Like that. Is accomplishment of dharma and kama going on properly? Like that is asking. Have dharma and kama been lost or not? It is a question or conjuncture. So just to make conversation, Narada Muni inquired from Uttanapada. Rajo Vacha
Rajo Uvacha
Suto me balako brahman
Suto me balako Brahman
Strainena karunatmana
दैनेना करुणात्मना
निर्वासिता पंचवर्षा
निर्वासिता पंचवर्षा
सह मात्रा महान कवि.
Matra Mahakavi. Translation. The king replied, O best of Brahmanas, I am very much addicted to my wife, and I am so fallen that I have abandoned all merciful behavior, even to my son, who is only 5 years old. I have banished him and his mother, even though he is a great soul and a great devotee. Hare Krishna.
The king says, O Brahmana, O Narada Muni, being merciless and controlled by my wife, Strainena Akaruna Atmana, I have banished my intelligent young son, only 5 years old, along with his mother. That means being controlled by a woman mercilessly, I have ignored. Ignoring them means as good as banishing them. Both mother and son. Dhruva and Dhruva's mother, Sunati. The both of them are almost banished by me. So like that, he's telling. Now he realized what he did. Because when Dhruva wanted to climb on the lap of father, he did not do because he was under the control of Sunati. Suruchi. So as a result of that, all this happened. Now he realized it is not a one day thing. I have been neglecting my wife for so long and not neglecting Dhruva for so long because I was completely under control of Suruchi for so long. So I did not show any compassion upon other wife and other child. That he is feeling sorry. Because his mother was not respected, she is said to be banished as well. Even though they are there in the palace, but if they are not cared, they are as good as banished. So in that way. But Dhruva anyway left the kingdom and went to the forest. So as a result of that, what is the situation of Dhruva now? Api anatam vane brahman.
अपि अनाथं वने ब्रह्मन्
Masmadanti arbakam vraja. Sorry, vraka.
स्मदन्ति अर्भकं वृकः
Srantam shayantam kshuditam.
शान्तं शयनं खुदितं
Parimlana
परिम्लान्मुखं भुजम्. Translation. My dear Brahmana, the face of my son was just like a lotus flower. I am thinking of his precarious condition. He is unprotected and he might be very hungry. He might have lain down somewhere in the forest and the wolves might have attacked him to eat his body.
Now he is contemplating what could have happened to Dhruva. Oh Brahmana, have the wolves eaten the unprotected boy? The Anatha Brahman, Anatha Vane, Smadanti Arbakam Vruka. Vruka, the wolves have eaten him, who must be tired, hungry, Shrantam, Kshuditam, with a withered lotus face. Okay? Without food and drink, he must have become very weak and withered, etc. etc. Lying down in the forest. Shayanam apivane. He must be sleeping somewhere in the forest. So like that. So he's worried about his whether he's faring well, is he protected, is still alive or not. The wolves, tigers might have come and eaten him up, and he must be hungry, tired, and he might be walking and tired, hungry, and he must have become weak, pale, all these things. So then he scorns himself. He scorns himself that he has been so irresponsible. Aho me bata dauryatmam.
Aho me bata dauryammyam
Srijitasyopadharaya.
Srijitasyopadharaya
Yonkam premanu rurukshantam.
Gonkam premna Premna Rukshatam
Nabhyanandanam Asattaman.
Abhayandama Asatama. Translation. Alas, just see how I was conquered by my wife. Just imagine my cruelty. Out of love and affection, the boy was trying to get up on my lap. But I did not receive him, nor did I even pat him for a moment. Just imagine how hard-hearted I am. Hare Krishna.
So here he is remembering what he did. Everything is remembering. I am controlled by a woman. Stri Jitasya. See my cruelty. To what extent I have been controlled by women? See this. I am most vile. I did not welcome my son with love when he tried to climb on my lap. Not that my son was asking kingdom this and that. No, he just wanted to sit on my lap. I did not even welcome that. Being controlled by a woman, I became so cruel, so wild, so ignorant, and so ill-mannered. So, like that is telling. Mama swatanayam
Mama
Mama
sucha swataniyam
devaguptam vishampate
devaguptam vishampate
tat prabhavam avijnaya
tat prabhavam avigyaya
pravrunte yad yasho jagat.
pravrante yad yasho jagad. The great sage Narada replied, My dear king, please do not be aggrieved about your son. He is well protected by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although you have no actual information of his influence, his reputation is already spread all over the world.
So Narada Muni is responding now. Narada said, O king, your son is personally protected by the Lord. Don't worry, don't worry. You are thinking that your son might be eaten by the wolves and died, all the hunger, thirst, etc., etc. Don't worry. He is personally protected by the Lord. He is living, though his greatness is yet unknown. His fame will soon spread throughout the universe. Therefore, do not lament. Don't worry, don't worry. Dhruva went to worship Lord Vishnu, he becomes successful. Afterwards, his fame will be glorified all over the universe. Right now, no one knows about Dhruva, but very soon everyone will be astonished by Dhruva. So be assured of that and don't lament and don't send a search party for Dhruva. Let him do his practice of bhakti. So in that way. Do not lament at all. He is still living. He is living. His greatness, as of now, unknown to anybody. His fame will spread. So very soon, all throughout the universe. So don't worry so much about his welfare. So like that, Narada Muni is pacifying Uttanapada, who is worried about who is concerned about the safety of his son. Sudushkaram karma krutva
Sadushkram karma krutva
lokapalairapi prabhu
lokapalairadi prabhu
aishyanti achirato rajan
shakti achirotu rajan
yasho vipulayam stava.
yasho vipulam yam tava. Translation. My dear king, your son is very competent. He will perform activities which would be impossible even for the great kings and sages. Very soon he will complete his task and come back home. You should know that he will also spread your reputation all over the world. Hare Krishna.
O king, after performing tasks which are difficult even for the devatas, Dhruva will soon return, spreading your fame everywhere. So you are thinking that you could not care for Dhruva, but because of Dhruva, your name will be spread throughout the universe. just because you have been repenting that you could not care for Dhruva, that repentance not only removed all your sins, but that will spread all your glories as being the father of Dhruva. So like that, so Narada Muni is assuring Dhruva not only spread his own glories, he will spread your glories also, you being his father. So like that. So in this way, Narada Muni assured Uttanapada and left from that place. Maitreya Uvacha.
Maitreya Uvacha
Iti Devarshina Proktam
iti devarsina proktam
Vishrutya Jagatipati
vishrutya jagati patihi
Rajalakshmim Anadrutya
rajalakshmim anadritya
Putram Evanvachintayat.
putram evan vanchitayat. The great Maitreya continued. The king Uttanupada, after being advised by Narada Muni, practically gave up all duties in relation with his kingdom, which was very vast and wide, opulent, like goddess of fortune, and he simply began to think of his son Dhruva.
So till now, in one sense, Uttanapada was too attached to his wife, children, and also the kingdom and all we could think of. But now, having understood that his son, a 5-year-old boy, has undertaken to worship Lord Vishnu, and his worship will become very successful in small time, and he will spread his own glories and he will spread the glories of his father also. Having seen the determination of his own son, Uttanapada became detached from his kingdom. That is indicated here. After hearing what Narada had said, the king gave up interest in his wealthy kingdom and thought only of his son. He was just thinking about Dhruva only. Till now, he did not care Dhruva or Dhruva's mother at all. But now he is only thinking about Dhruva. So like that, there is intense detachment in the heart of Uttanapada. As soon as Dhruva returns, Uttanapada will make Dhruva the king and he will go to forest to perform tapasya, austerities, the Vanaprastha order. So, if we have devotees around us, everyone gets benefited. So, this is one example. Very soon there was complete detachment in Uttanapada, and very soon when Dhruva comes back, he will make Dhruva the king and Uttanapada will go to forest to continue his bhakti, to continue to practice, because all the while till now he was being in the kingdom, the king of the kingdom, but somehow or other he became too attached to his wife, too attached to the child of his wife whom he was attracted, and too attached to kingdom. But now having understood what kind of uh, life that Dhruva is leading, what kind of blessing that Dhruva would receive, he himself became completely detached. And he will exhibit that very soon. As of now, he is already doing it. When Dhruva comes home, he will give all the kingdom to Dhruva and he will retire from the kingdom. That is what he will do. So, in this way, we can understand. If one person becomes serious devotee in the family, others, so slowly, others get influenced by that. So, in that way. Tatrabhishikta paryatas
Tatra viksita paryatas
tam uposya vibhavarim
tam upasya vivavarim
samahita paryacharat
samahita paryacharat
Rushi adeshena purusham.
Risiyadesena purusam. Translation. Elsewhere, Dhruva Maharaja, having arrived at Madhuvan, took his bath in the river Yamuna and observed fasting in the night with great care and attention. After that, as advised by the great sage Narada, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
After taking bath at Madhuvana, now Dhruva, what Dhruva did having gone to Madhuvana is being described in the rest of the chapter. After taking bath at Madhuvana and fasting that night, Dhruva, being purified, then worshipped the Lord with full attention as instructed by Narada. So Dhruva went to Madhuvan. He took bath. He went in the evening, took bath, took rest. Next day morning, he got up, took bath, prepared a deity of the Lord, offered some flowers, roots, and fruits, and whatever is available, chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya mantra, and worshipped as instructed by the Narada Muni, and then practiced Ashtanga Yoga. So something like that we can think of. What did Dhruva do at Madhuvana? The current verse onwards answers. Abhikshita means having bathed. Pratyaya means purified. So basically, he purified himself having bathed in the Yamuna river, and whole night he fasted, and the next day morning onwards, he began his practice of bhakti as instructed by Narada Muni. So now let us see. Narada Muni told something, but Dhruva does much more serious than what is just told by Narada Muni. He does much more than what is expected from him. Triratrante, Triratrante.
Triratrante, Triratrante,
Kapita Badarashana.
Papitha Vadarasanaha,
Atma Vritti Anusarena.
Atma Vritti Anusarena,
Masam Ninnechara. Masam Ninnerchayan Harim.
Masam Ninne Archam Harim. For the first month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only fruits and berries on every third day, only to keep his body and soul together. And in this way, he progressed in his worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
In the first month, eating kapita and badari berries only every third night to maintain the body, he passed 1 month in worshipping the Lord. So Narada Muni told, control your body and mind. So, in controlling the body and mind, it is eating only once in 3 days. We normally eat 3 times in a day. But Dhruva, being a small boy, he eat only once in 3 days. That too, not opulent food. Only some berries and kapita fruits which are available in the forest naturally. Some fruits, not that huge quantity of fruits also, not like that 5 kilo, 10 kilo, not like that. Some basic just to maintain his life, body and soul together. So in that way, he accepted eating only kapita and badari fruits to maintain the life in the body, not to enjoy sense gratification. So like that. Then second month, Dvitiyam cha tatamasam.
Ditiyam cha tathamasam,
Sheshtam sheshter bakodine.
Seste seste,
Yes, continue, Prabhu.
seste seste arkodine,
Trina pranadibi, trina pranadibi. Sarni.
Jina pranatibhi srane,
Pitanno Bhyarchayan Vibhum.
Gritano abhayachayam vibhum. In the second month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only every 6 days, and for his eatables he took dry grass and leaves. Thus he continued his worship.
In the first month, every 3 days, badari and kapita fruits. In the second month, every 6 days, dry grass and leaves. Sirnai trina parnadibi. Trina is grass, parna is leaves. What kind of grass and what kind of leaves? Sirnai, completely dried by the sunlight. Dry grass and dry leaves. We not even eat wet grass. We want all the vegetables cooked properly. But here Dhruva is eating some dry grass just to maintain his body once in 6 days. First month only once in 3 days eating. Second month once in 6 days only eating. Tritiyam chanayanmasam.
Tritiyam cha nayanmasam.
Navame navamehane.
Navame navame hani.
Abhaksha uttama shlokan.
Abhaksa uttama shlokam.
Upadava samadhina.
Upadavat samadhinam. Translation: in the third month he drank water only every 9 days. Thus he remained completely in trance and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by selected verses.
In the third month, he drank only water every 9th day, worshipping the Lord in Samadhi. That means by third month, he came to the Samadhi platform, following Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So in the morning, he would worship the deity, in the afternoon, in the evening also. But in the meantime, he continuously worship the Supreme Lord by the practice of Ashtanga Yoga processes. So as a result, he passing through all the stages, he came to the state of Samadhi in the third month itself. So like that. So he is eating, he completely gave up eating. At least first month he was eating berries, second month he was eating some dry leaves, dry grass, third month he was only drinking some water once in every 9 days. So like that. Next to fourth month. Chaturtham api vaimasam.
चतुर्थम अपि वैवासम
Dvadashe hane.
द्वादशे हनि
Vayudhurbaksho jivahimsa.
वायुभक्षो जित श्वासो
Dhyayam devam adarayat.
ध्यायन् देवम् अधारयत्. Translation: in the fourth month, Dhruva Maharaj became a complete master of the breathing exercise, and thus he inhaled air only every 12th day. In this way, he became completely fixed in his position and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
First month every 3 days dry berries. Second month every 6 days dry leaves. Third month every 9 days some water. Fourth month every 12 days only breathing. In fourth month, having controlled in his breath, he took only air as food every 12 days and worshipped by meditating on the Lord. So he was doing samadhi and he was not even taking grass food, subtle food, liquid food. He was only taking air. That too, we generally do 15 times breathing in a minute. So in 15 times in a minute and in 1 hour, 900 times. So in a day, 24 9 ja. Malab 1 2 almost 200,000 times. So that many times we breathe. But Dhruva is breathing only once in 12 days. एक बार अंदर breathe कर लिया 12 दिन Shant. After 12 days only breathing out. So something like that. But he was doing simple meditation on the Supreme Lord. Panchame masi anuprapte.
Panchame masi anuprapte.
Jitashvaso nrupatmaja.
Jita swaso nipatmaja.
Dhyayan brahma padaikena.
Dhayan brahma padaikena.
Tastau tanor ivachala.
Tasthau sthanor ivachala. Translation. By the 5th month, Maharaj Dhruva, the son of the king, had controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand on only one leg, just as a column stands without motion, and concentrate his mind fully on the
In fifth month, controlling his breath, the prince, meditating on the Lord, stood motionless like a pillar on one foot, breathing only once. That means in the 4th month at least, he breathed once in every 12 days. The first day, then 13th day, then 25th day, like that 2-3 times he breathed in the 5th month, in the 4th month. But in the 5th month, he only breathed once. For the entire month of 30 days, he breathed only once. So now 6th month, he stopped even that breathing also. At least in the 5th month out of 30 days, he breathed once. In the 6 months for the entire 30 days, he did not even breathe once also. That is indicated in the 6 months. Sarvato mama akrishya.
Sarvato mano akrasya.
Hridi bhutendriyashayam.
Vidhi bhutendriya sayam.
Dhyayan bhagavato rupam.
Dhayan bhagavato rupam.
Nadrakshit kinchana param.
Nadrakshit kinchana param. He completely controlled his senses and their objects, and in this way he fixed his mind without diversion to anything else upon the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Now in the 6th month, controlling the mind completely, meditating on the form of the Lord, which is not perceivable by material senses, he did not see anything else and no breath. For 1 month of 30 days, he was meditating on the Supreme Lord, that form that was described by Narada Muni, not even breathing. Then what to speak of drinking and eating? He did not even breathe for the entire month, 30 days. Please imagine. What do you mean by not breathing for 30 days? If you can't even breathe for 1 minute, we are gone. But he did not breathe for this. Bhutendri Ashayam, referring to the form of the Lord, can mean that which does not reside with the senses of the living beings. Or it can mean that to which the living beings' senses are completely sleeping, that which is beyond their senses. That means the Lord's form is transcendental, which cannot be seen normally. But now Dhruva is able to see that form of the Lord in the core of his heart, because he has come to Samadhi platform and is able to meditate upon the Lord's form and uninterruptedly without disturbed by anything, hunger, thirst, and other things. Because and then it goes all the way to no breathing also. He is not even breathing also. Without even breathing a little, he is able to meditate upon Lord's form continuously for whole month. Then what happened? Okay, fine. He is doing the meditation, he is worshipping the Lord, he is doing the dhyana and all. So as time progressed, first month 3 days in a week, 3 days Once in 3 days he was eating. Second month, once in 6 days he was eating. Third month, once in 9 days he was drinking. Fourth month, once in 12 days he was breathing. Fifth month, only once he breathed. 6 months he does not even breathe. He did not breathe. That is fine. Because his meditation is so powerful that because he stopped breathing, the entire world is forced to stop breathing. That is what happened in the entire universe. Adaram mahadadinam
आधारं महदादीनां
pradhana purusheshwaram
प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरं
brahmadharayamanasya
ब्रह्मधारयमाणस्य
trayo lokascha kampire.
त्रयो लोकश्च कंपिरे. Translation: When Dhruva Maharaj thus captured the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the refuge of the total material creation and who is the master of all living entities, the three worlds began to tremble.
When Dhruva began to meditate on the Supreme Lord, the shelter of the all elements, the Lord of matter and all the jivas, the three worlds began to tremble. Why the three worlds began to tremble? So there are so many things are there. So it's already time. We will discuss in the next class. So we'll stop here. I thought of taking up to 82, but we'll stop here. Any questions, Hare Krishna?
No,
Devotees have any
Prabhuji,
questions?
take up to 82. You can take up to 82. I mean, if others are
Yes,
willing.
Prabhuji. If you want, you can take.
यदैकपादेन सपार्थिवार्भकस्
यदेकपादेन
तस्सौ तदङ्गुष्टनिपीडितामहि
अंकुष्ठ
न नाम तत्रादमिह इहेन्द्रदिष्टिता तरीव सव्येतरपापदे पदे. When the prince stood on one leg, the earth, pressed by his big toe, sank lower by a half pradesha, just as a boat with an elephant rocks from side to side with each of its steps. So basically, as Dhruva was meditating on the Supreme Lord, in one sense, Dhruva captured the Supreme Lord within the core of his heart. And also, Dhruva captured the wind within the core of his lungs or something like that, within his own personality. Because he breathed in and did not breathe out. When he breathes out, the air comes out and everyone will have the air. When he breathed in, as if he breathed the entire air of the universe. The entire air of the universe is inside his body. The Supreme Lord himself is inside his body. So he became so heavy, the earth is trembling. As if a heavy elephant is walking in a boat, the boat goes up and down here and there for every step. Same way, though Dhruva is standing on one leg, he became so heavy, the earth is going downward, as if he is pushing the earth. That kind of experience is happening. The earth, pressed by his big toe, sank down by half pradesha, half of 5 inches. One pradesha is 5 inches, half pradesha means half of 5 inches. 2.5 inches went down. Just as a boat with an elephant sinks on the left and then to the right with its steps. Basically, by capturing the Lord in the heart, by capturing the breath within his own lungs, the entire body of Dhruva became as heavy as the Supreme Lord, as heavy as the wind of the entire universe. So as a result of that, Bhumi went down, the Prithvi went down by Pradesha. So in that way. Tasminna vidyayati vishwamatmano. Hare Krishna, someone repeat.
तस्मिन्नभिध्यायति विश्व आत्मनो
Dvaram nirudhya sumananyaya diya.
द्वारं निरुध्य सुमनन्नया धिया
Loka niruchvasa nipidita brusham.
लोकानिरुश्वास निपीडिता भृशम्
Salokapala sharanam yayo hari.
सलोकपालाः शरणं युयुर्हरिम्.
When Dhruva blocking all the doors of his body and stopping his life hairs, meditated on the Supreme Lord with his intelligence merged in the total intelligence. The people of the universe, along with the Devatas, becoming completely breathless, went to Supreme Lord. As Dhruva stopped breathing, as if the entire air went into the body of Dhruva, the outside universe is bereft of any air. They can't breathe. So they immediately approached the Supreme Lord, the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, the maintainer of the universe. When Dhruva, blocking all the doors of his and air of the body, meditated on the Supreme Lord, the planets became afflicted by breathlessness. When the individual body of Dhruva blocked his life airs by that force, the life air of the whole universe became blocked. So this is what happened. This was because the intelligence of the individual and the whole became one. Because the Supreme Lord himself is situated within the body of Dhruva and the entire air is situated within the body of Dhruva. The result of that, the entire world became airless so that they cannot breathe. So immediately they went to Supreme Lord Vishnu to inform what happened. Deva Uchuhu.
देवाः
Deva.
Naivam Vidamo Bhagavan Pranarodam.
Naiva.
Pranarodham.
Characharasya Kila Sattvadhamna.
Characharasya khila sattvadhamna.
Videhi Tanno Vrijina Dvimoksham.
Videhi tanno vrijinad moksham.
Prapta Vayam Tvam Sharanam Sharanyam.
Prapta vayam tvam sharanam sharanyam.
And the Devatas are reporting to Supreme Lord. We have never known the blocking of breath for all bodies of all beings, moving and non-moving. We have approached you, worthy of taking shelter. Please deliver us from this great danger. Oh, my dear Lord, we have never seen such kind of situation that the breathing air has been blocked for the entire universe. So please, something is wonderful is happening. Please do something about it. We have never known the blocking of breath of all beings. Akila Sattva Dhamna means the body of all beings. So please do something. Then the Lord tells them that no, don't worry. Dhruva is doing some austerity. As a result of this is happening, I will go and stop him. I will go and take care of it. Like that, Lord will assure. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan
Uvacha.
Uvacha.
Ma Vaishtabalam Tapaso Duratyayan.
Ma Bhaishtabalam Tapaso Duratyayam.
Nirvatyayaishe Pratiyata Swadhamna. Swadhama.
Nirvatyaishe Pratiyata Swadhama.
Yato hi va prana nirodha asid.
Yato hi va prana nirodha asid.
Autanapader mai sangatatma.
Autana padairmai sanganatma.
Then the Lord responded, "Oh, my dear Devatas, do not fear. Return to your respective homes. I will stop the boy from doing impossible austerities. He has concentrated his mind fully on me. Because of him, your breath has been stopped." Oh, don't worry, it is not because of some demons and all. A Dhruva small boy is doing something which is beyond his ability, which is beyond his capacity. As a result of that, your wind has been stopped. I will go and do the needful. So things will resume as it was previously. You go back. Because of the boy doing austerities, when he stops his breath during the 6th month, your breath also stops. You should not fear, thinking that you will die. He has simply concentrated his mind on me. This will not destroy anything. This will not cause any problem to anybody. It's just a temporary stoppage of the wind. Things will again become normal. You go back. I will do the needful. Like that, the Supreme Lord assured all the Devatas and they returned. And now the Supreme Lord comes to Dhruva, where Dhruva is performing austerities in Madhuvan. He will come there and he will give him a darshan for which Dhruva is waiting. He will give him blessings for which Dhruva had come and performing all these severe austerities, etc., etc. And he will also give him Krishna Prema, as Narada Muni promised. If one practices bhakti, the Lord can award Krishna Prema also. So Dhruva will be awarded with Krishna Prema. So all these things will be seen in the next chapter. So that we will discuss in the next class. So we are done with our first chapter. It is a big chapter, about 82 verses. So we have been discussing for 2-3 days. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Danda Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam.